Good morning.
This is the way OGJ Speed be thinking. Some days.
Just like to say good morning, SP, WD Speed. Got a good show this morning.
Something very deep, something in the fall.
We got
But I still see the scars upon the land.
Mr. Neely Fuller.
You talk about progress and liberty, but you skip the chapters on slavery. The silence.
And we got some special guests too. We're going to start you off with a little interview of Sharad Ali. And just about 2 minutes, we got her coming up on Wednesday, a special interview. And then we got Sister Welsing, Dr. Welsing. These are the two pioneers who came together to put all this together when they start talking about white supremacy. Where y'all mess up at, it's the system of white supremacy. It's just not white supremacy, but when you say white supremacy, you're talking about something different. It's the system of white supremacy. And so when you understand that, you'll understand the system. Anything less than that, everything is going to confuse you. SPWD Speed, 95 degrees in the shade. We'll give it to you just like this. Come on with it, and let's get it.
When you think your people did nothing wrong. It's not just a memory, it's in the bones. It's in the bones. It's in every brick and every stone. How can there be peace with no accountability? Your people did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. 400 years and you see nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong, huh? Let's get right into it then. All right, let's get into the sister and see what she's talking about, okay?
I wouldn't call it a ceremony, the exoneration announcement with the New York District Attorney. All right, let's turn our attention now to Sister Shahrazad Ali. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Shahrazad.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sister Shahrazad, do you remember where you were when you heard that Malcolm was assassinated?
What year was that?
Was it 63?
63. I wasn't in the nation yet. I was too young. I hadn't got to it yet. I was at that time trying to figure out which group I wanted to join. I was too young to deal with that. But I do remember when it happened. And first of all,
65.
Yeah, since right. I remember when it happened, but since we're talking about Malcolm X, El-Haq Shabazz, you know, Shabazz was not an Arabic name. He got that from the messenger in the Nation of Islam. We're the tribe of Shabazz. But let me say this before people, I hate when this happens with us. We love a dead hero. Malcolm didn't have a legacy. The only legacy Malcolm had was the same one all of us who followed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had, and that's we're all good speakers and we have information. We are the best speakers. That's Khalid Muhammad. That's Louis Farrakhan. That's Shahrazad Ali. That's Muhammad Ali. That's Malcolm X, and many others who did not become as famous as we have. his legacy is that he was able to take the teachings that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us and express them in such a way that it captivated the people, gained their interest, and gained him admiration. Okay? Malcolm didn't have those kind of skills. I was there after 65. He didn't have those kind of skills. He was a good brother as long as he stayed with the teachings of the messenger, just like Muhammad Ali. Remember how wonderful he was, how good he could talk, until he left the messenger's teachings and took on some of the Eastern Arabic, Sunni or Shiite or whatever those teachings were that they took from the Eastern Islam that had been here hundreds of years, and they never came for us. Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the only one that came to teach black people about.
That's right. Now, we're going to get into that interview on Wednesday. I'm going to be bringing you something tried to every day of some scholars who have went out there and did their research and they have put their boot on the ground. First, there's a lot of these young people who sound good, but they don't really. You know, when you have a recipe and you sit down and you're eating somebody's meal and it just don't have the right spice to it. It just, I mean, you know what you eat, but it just don't have the right spice to it. And that's the way I listen to a lot of these guys who are talking now, and they are trying to convince you about something they knew. Now there's some guys out there who are
working on building a dream.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
Working on building a dream space, but don't know where to start.
There are a lot of people out there who are really misleading you because they don't start drinking the Kool-Aid. They think just because they can show their house and show their Nike shoes and all the bullshit, that the Creator ain't gonna care about none of that. If you're submitting to it and not submitting to the universe of God. So we're going to get into the Neely Fuller. He going to break down this system of white supremacy, because I think this is what's really hanging us up. And I've been with these guys for ever since 1990. And I'm not talking about somebody I just listened to over the radio. I'm talking about actually meeting these people and hanging with these people. And this is a lot of the people that you were listening to. They might read a book. They might read the ISIS paper. They might read Neely Fuller book. But I turned some of my friends onto this. But these people don't really have their full story. They got a little information and they speak well. I'm not going to take anything from them from that. But when it comes down to scholarship, some of these brothers are lost. You listen to them, you can tell they lost. I was listening to some brothers this morning. They was talking about my white man is better than your white man. I was like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? Shit. I'm not going to be sitting up there fussing on who white man better than the white man. Because at the end of the day, Mr. Fuller gonna break it down for you and show you what real is. You see, they be trying to make you think they know about real. They don't know about real, because they really understood the system of white supremacy. Believe it or not, they wouldn't be talking the way they're talking. I'm just telling you, they just wouldn't be talking the way they're talking. So let's go ahead and get into this story and get it down to science so y'all understand what the system is all about, okay? Let's go ahead and get into it.
But don't know where to start? At the Home Depot, we can help you bring your dream project to life. Whether you're building a backyard oasis, a podcast studio, or a wellness space, we've got everything you need in store and online. With project guides and free delivery options, it's easy to go from dreaming to doing. The Home Depot. How doers get more done.
You're rocking with the most awesome mess.
The Carl Nelson Show
You're rocking with the most awesome mess.
on 1450 and 95.9.
You're rocking with the most awesome mess.
Worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
With the most awesome mess. All right, let's go.
And thanks for joining us, family. We hope today is going great for you so far. Later, Dr. FrancesCressWelsing's mentor, Neely Fuller Jr., will return to our classroom. Brother Neely will explain if distractions are part of the system of racism and white supremacy. And as many of you already know, his claim that if you don't understand how the system of racism and white supremacy works and all that it entails and everything else that you think you understand will only serve to confuse you. But before we hear from Neely, everyone's it's kind of like Carlton Pearson. We're all going to heaven.
No, everyone will live forever. Everyone will live forever. It's just.
I tell you what, hold that thought right there. I'll let you clean it up on the other side of the short break so some of our stations need to identify themselves down the line. Stations like FM 95.9 and AM 1450, WOL, where information is power.
Listen to the Carl Nelson Show now on our free mobile app.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. I guess it's Neely Fuller Jr. having a class on racism and white supremacy, or I should say the system of racism and white supremacy. Those of you who say you don't understand it, please listen very cleanly, very clearly, because Neely uses logic, cause and effect to prove his points. So it's one of these shows you got to stick your ear right into that speaker. You can't be doing something else because you're going to miss what he's trying to say. And from talking to a lot of people, they still haven't caught on to what Neely Fuller and Dr. Welsing have been trying to teach us about the system of racism and white supremacy. And I got to tell you this, I didn't get it the first time either. I had to call Dr. Welsing up and say, hey, show me, break it down for me. But so if you don't understand it, just raise your hand. Don't be ashamed. You can use a different name, a different city, and just dial us up at 800-450-7876. I know Neely Fuller He'll break it down for you. He'll explain what the system of racism and white supremacy is all about. So, Neely Fuller, I'm going to let you finish with your thought you was telling us about how it came to be and how this structure of racism and white supremacy came to be.
Well, I don't really know how it came to be because I wasn't here when it started. But I know when I got here, it was already in place. And it's never been not in place since I've been here. And I haven't talked to anybody who remembers when it was not in place. They weren't here. And people have told me, and I listened to all of them, that, well, the system of white supremacy is really kind of a sloppy system that improved itself over a period of roughly 400 to 600 years. And then other people have chimed in and said, oh, no, that's real conservative. The system of white supremacy is at least 2,000 years old, going back to at least the time of Jesus, all right, and the Roman emperors and all that. Certainly, I mean, it was active. People believed in and followed white supremacy back during the time of the Roman emperors. The Roman emperors were white supremacists, a lot of people have said. And so other people have said, oh, no, that's conservative. It goes back 6,000 years. So I just simply tell the people the truth about what I say, and that is, I don't know. But I know it's the most powerful thing since I've been here. I haven't seen anything more powerful. And I've asked people who have traveled just about everywhere, have you seen any place or know of any place where that's not the most powerful force in every area of activity among people of color? People of color jump to the tune of the system of white supremacy more than they jump to any other tune if they have color in their skin? And I've asked that question. And people have said, well, now that I think about it, I can say sort of. I mean, people start giving vague answers. And I say either it's true or it's not. Now, which is it? Because I don't want to believe anything that's not true. And I certainly don't want to be participating on worldwide radio and putting out anything that's not true. And I'm saying from everybody I've ever talked to, including people who have spent a lot of time studying and gone all over the world, and some of them, I mean, have been on boats where people were examining the bottom of the ocean, and they say when it comes to people, somebody white is always ruling over anybody who's non-white, any time of day or night. And as far back as they can remember, that's always been true,
Testing.
except on a one-on-one basis where a black person disagrees with a white person, but that black person has always had to have a white person back them up in that disagreement, because there were no black people strong enough to back them up in a disagreement with somebody white.
So let me jump in here again and ask you this. And so it is global then. It's not just confined to the borders of the United States.
It ain't no such thing as the United States in the system of white supremacy, except the United States of white supremacy. Now let's show the logic of that. What is united? Start with the word united. It means two or more things together. And what is a state? Well, if you're talking about United States, you're talking about two or more people. If a state is a person, because a state is a state of being. A person is a state of being, rather. And so if you have two white supremacists, two people who agree in the system of white supremacy that white people, just by being white, should dominate and mistreat people who have color in their skin, because that's what white supremacy means, in all areas of activity, 24/7, all over the planet. That's the basic white supremacist belief. And they are the only people who have that belief, or any belief of any kind, including all the religions combined, who practice that belief all the way. And the evidence shows that. A lot of people cut corners on what they consider to be their religion. And they usually cut all the corners off any religion that they have. When the white supremacists come around and said, I don't care what you believed in before I got here, but you're going to believe in me before I leave this evening. And if you're a person of color, they have always proven that they mean what they say. There's no backing down. That's what proves, like I said, the power of it. I've searched and racked my brains and tried to find people, who said, please tell me. I've said it for years. It hurts. Please tell me that there's some place, there's some people somewhere, there's some magic people somewhere that have color in their skin who don't put up with this at all. The white supremacists can't tell them nothing to do, and they do it. And I've never heard anybody, after we talked about it for a great length of time, walk off and say, well, it won't always be that way, or it wasn't always that way. I'm talking about now, sir, ma'am. And that's every year I've been on the planet, every day, every minute. No one has ever told me anything different after we went round and 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 round. And there's all kind of talk about what book has been written or what a certain person said or found in some desert somewhere 50 million years ago or something like that. But I say since the beginning of the system of white supremacy, has anybody come up with a formula of any kind where that wasn't true? That the white supremacist influence wasn't dominant over a non-white person, wherever that non-white person may be, or how much they know, or who they thought they knew before the white supremacists got on their case. And I hope I answered the question
sure
as
did.
best I possibly can. Because, like I said, I tried to run away from it. And the system of white supremacy is like a person in the desert. This is one picture that I give. At high noon, and you're trying to outrun your shadow. I don't care where you twist and turn. If you got color in your skin, when you look down, you see it. Your shadow's there. And the white supremacists are just like the shadow, only it's a white shadow for every black person on this planet. I don't care what a black person does or where they go or where they try to hide or what empire they try to build or anything like that. The white supremacist just walks in and kicks it over in about 2 minutes if they want to. And the only reason it stands is because the white supremacist says, hey, let it stand. I mean, it's not hurting my business. But if it hurts my business, I'm going to hurt them. And they know what a hurting is when I put it on them. I've never seen it fail.
All right. Hold that thought right there, Neely Fuller Jr. 800-450-7876. Call up a couple of your friends and tell them Brother Neely Fuller Jr. is on the radio discussing racism and white supremacy. I should say, I always lose that a couple of the first words. The system of racism and white supremacy. Fixico is joining us on line 2, calling from L.A. Fixico, you have a question for Neely Fuller Jr.?
Yes, Hotel Brother Carl and Dr. Fuller, it's an honor, sir. I have a question. I believe that the Will Smith slap heard around the world at the Oscar ceremony was an example of, and I've certainly been guilty of it myself, the overwhelming urge for us to self-sabotage our greatest accomplishments. Is this true? And how does the system of white supremacy create these overpowering self-destructive urges, if true? And I'll take my answer off there. Thank you.
Well, apparently, they just decided to make a religion out of something that gelled into something that we kind of loosely call white supremacy. I call it the system of white supremacy in capital letters because I say it covers all areas of activity. It's not a sometime thing. And I'm saying that it works. And that's why it's lasted so long. I mean, people usually abandon something that's not working well. I mean, they modify it and whatnot until they find it just kind of withers away. All down through history, this has been true, among tribes and everything. But the system of white supremacy is proven to have staying power. It has staying power. And like I said, whoever thought it up, they might not have known it at the time, but it was a stroke of genius. Somebody, I don't know if it started with one person or two or a committee, but somebody said, why not do all of the world's business on the basis of what color somebody is?
Right. Hold that thought right there, Neely Fuller Jr.
Yes.
We're going to take a short break, and I'll let you pick it up on the other side and responding to Fixico's question. Folks, you want to join the class, reach out to us, 800-450-7876, or speak to Neely Fuller Jr. We'll take your calls after this quick break on FM 95.9 and AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
The Carl Nelson Show, now available on iTunes.
And thanks for rolling with us, folks. Our guest is Neely Fuller Jr. And so, Dr. Fuller, I'm going to let you finish responding to Fixico's question about that slap.
Working on building a dream space, but don't know where to start? At the Home Depot, we can help you bring your dream project to life. Whether you're building a backyard oasis, a podcast studio, or a wellness space, we've got everything you need in store and online. With project guides and free delivery options, it's easy to go from dreaming to doing. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
About the slap?
Yeah.
Well, what I have to say about it, I do it according to what I've written in the book. I mean, always saying that in order, rather than just keep talking about there's a problem, I wrote a book. I call it the Code, or the Counter-Racist Code, giving some ideas about what to do about it. So what you say, do and say, people do and say something every day. Either doing or saying something or a combination of both. And so about the slap, if we're talking about
Will Smith.
The movie actor.
Will Smith, yeah.
Yes, at the award ceremony, this is to be expected. That's what the code says you say about it. Because, and we shouldn't be alarmed or even think harshly about all of the people involved. It's just that goes with the territory of having a system of white supremacy. See, it's deep. It cuts deep. I mean, it's there. We are all flawed by it. There isn't a black person that's breathing now who isn't deeply affected. I mean, completely drowning in the system of white supremacy. We've never known any other system. So we react and act and react to every situation according to what the white supremacists have groomed us for. We shouldn't be surprised at anything that non-white people do that shouldn't be done. That should never surprise us in the system of white supremacy. We have been highly trained not to do anything else other than that. Harm to each other. I mean, deep down, we look forward to doing harm to each other. It's ingrained in us, in everything that we have ever seen around us, right out of the womb. Racism is just that prevalent. So we should never be surprised at anything a black person does that shouldn't be done in the system of white supremacy. Never be surprised. We surprise ourselves at some of the things we do. I know I have. And then I sit down afterwards and think, now where did that come from? The influence. You can't be in a prison, be born in a prison, and the system of white supremacy is a world prison system for everybody with color in his or her skin, a prison system. We're prisoners of war. We are born prisoners of war. You can't be a prisoner of war all of your existence and not be affected by the prison rules. What do prisoners do? They turn on each other when they get angry or upset. Don't like the food, or they don't like the way they're being treated by the guards, or they don't like this and don't like that, and definitely don't like being a prisoner. So they have prison riots. So we expect that. And the people who run the prison, they're always prepared for the riot. They'll let it go for a little while, then they'll put it down until the next one comes up. And that's what black people do. Our killing each other, nonstop. That's all a part of the prison mentality. That's what prisoners do. They turn on each other. So that can be expected. There's just so many facets, hundreds of them, of the ill effects of the system of white supremacy. I mean, even when we argue about it, we argue about it most of all with whom? Ourselves. And we all get quiet when the white supremacists come around, and we get more polite than we've ever been. But as soon as the white supremacists disappear, we really go at each other. I mean, we let all that pent-up energy and whatnot that we've been holding back while the white people were there, it burst out. Soon as they disappear over the hill, then we go at each other like you wouldn't believe. And each one of us accusing the other of being a sellout or something like that. The white supremacists know that. They're over on the other side of the hill, just laughing like they always do, and saying, Negroes forever. We got them. We got them. We got them. We got them. They're so dumb. They're so out of it. They don't even know the effect that we have on them. And now they're hitting each other over the head. They can't even walk the streets wherever you have a bunch of them together. They can't have a party without us having to come in, put up a lot of yellow tape and clean up the mess, and yawn, and go back to the other side of town where civilization is. because we know what to expect of them when we are not around. If we're not there to bump their heads together, and they get mad about that, but we know there ain't nothing they can do about it because they ain't got that much sense. That's the white supremacist mentality. And they are not making it up. They're telling the truth when they do that. But a lot of them won't tell the truth. They'll say that, oh, everything is just fine. You people have, you've come a long ways. You've made what we call progress by our standards for a black person. We're thinking about giving you another Wall Street maybe in about 10 years. Ain't that nice? And so we think about that for a while and say, yeah, that's what we need. When what we need, according to what I've written, is to get rid of the entire system of white supremacy and replace it with justice, because that's the only thing that makes sense. And that's worldwide. It won't work unless it's worldwide. And we ought to have learned that by now.
And let me jump in here for a second. And folks, I hope you're listening to this. And if you ever try to figure out why we keep attacking each other, whether it be in the pulpit, whether it be on the internet, whether it be in the streets, or fighting each other or your family, he just laid it out for you. So we're in the proverbial prison, Mr. Fuller. Why don't we attack the guards? Why are we attacking each other?
Well, prisoners sometimes do that, but they know they're going to lose. Like Attica, that proved that. I mean, see, once the white supremacists build a prison, it's a prison. Okay, it's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I often think about the movie Shawshank Redemption. It's one of my favorite movies, where, people did their little things and had got their little gangs going and all this kind of stuff. But finally, the star of the movie, a person called Andy Dufresne, he said, I got to figure out how the warden operates. And the way to do that, like in the movie Godfather, what did Michael Corleone say his father taught him? Keep your friends close and your enemies even closer. Why? Where did that kind of logic come from? Because you should know more about your enemy than you know about what you call your friends, particularly when your friends are in the same terrible shape that you're in. Every general in every army understands that. That's why they send out what they call reconnaissance. I know I've been on those reconnaissance patrols in Korea a long time ago. You got to know what's going on. You got to know what's going on the other side of the hill. You got to know what's going on with the people who can do the most harm to you. The people who are controlling everything, the people who run the prison. But the ignorant prisoner, always scheming, burning midnight oil, trying to figure out how to outsmart the other prisoner. That's not the way to get out of prison. You study how the prison is put together, who's putting it together, all the people that run the prison, how they come and go. That's how you have prison breaks. You don't study the other prisoners. You can't get nowhere doing that. But black people do what? We study each other more than we study anything in the universe. And that's how we become dumber and dumber. There's not a whole lot to learn among people who are in captivity, except how to continue to be in captivity. That's the logic. We don't tap into the logic of the universe. And that's what I'm trying to do on this program. That's why I come on these programs. And that's what I discovered. Black people study each other more than they study anything. We pay attention to each other more than we pay attention to anything in the universe, while the white supremacists are studying the entire universe. And anybody who does that will always be ahead. We are ghetto worshipers. We've been in prison so long, if we are outside just a few minutes, I mean, we feel naked. Oh, I mean, I feel, I feel like I'm at home in the ghetto. You feel like you're at home in the worst part of the prison, because they have made the whole world a prison for you. Then you're going to get with a whole bunch of black people who are flat broke, and bunch them all up together,
right,
in what we call the ghetto.
All right, hold that thought right there, Neely. We got to take a short break.
Yes.
Right, I'll let you finish your thought on the other side. We've got some people that want to talk to you as well. 800-450-7876. Get you in. Calls next on FM 95.9 and AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
Listen to the Carl Nelson Show on Alexa.
White supremacy, how the system works. In a class right now. Call up a couple of your friends, let them know that Neely Fuller Jr. is on the radio. 800-450-7876. Always wondered why we're always attacking each other? He's got the answer, and the answer is the code. I know he's going to talk about that later on. Before we go back to you, though, let me just remind you, tomorrow we're going to speak with chematologist Tony Browder. He'll be in the studio with us. Number to call, again, to check out Tony, 800-450-7876. Be right here on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL. So, Mr. Fuller, I'm going to let you finish, and then Ben in Long Beach has got a question for you.
Well, basically, in a capsule, everything I've been saying this evening is the biggest problem on the planet is the race problem. And the race problem is a thing called the system of white supremacy. And the solution to that problem is you have to replace the entire system in all 9 areas of activity of white supremacy, which is racism. It's the only form of racism on this planet, with a better system. And a better system, logically speaking, would be the system of justice. So I made up a definition, a compensatory codified definition for the word justice, because I couldn't find any book with the word justice in it that gave me an explanation of what justice looks like. So I wanted something to be explicit. I was very dissatisfied with what I found in all the dictionaries and whatnot. So I made up one, a compensatory. You have to make up compensatory language in order to defeat the system of white supremacy, I have discovered. So I use the English language but give it new definitions for some words. And the definition for justice I came up with maybe about 40 years ago. And it consists of 2 parts: guaranteeing that no person is mistreated, and guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help. Now, if you don't have those 2 elements, you don't have justice. And so I'm saying replace the system of white supremacy with the system of justice. It's just that simple. Then you can go on to do greater things, because we should be trying to be universal man and universal woman in tune with everything that's constructive in the universe. Why? Because we are born into the universe. So we shouldn't be restricted based on color or anything else from doing the most constructive things 24/7, each and every day, all over the planet. The theory is it can be done if people just put their minds to it. All of the people on the planet, or as many who can get on board who will form a majority. And, we have to think long range, not just thinking the way that we've been trained to think, and that is just make plans for the weekend and that's about it. If you're black, your plans are never supposed to go beyond that under the system of white supremacy.
All right. 800-450-7876. I mentioned Ben's been waiting for us. He's on line 3, calling from Long Beach out in California. Ben, you're on with Dr. Fuller. You have a question for him?
Yes, first of all, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
can you help? Okay, very good. So I have several questions for the doc. Doc, first of all, I hope and pray that when I'm 93 years of age that I'm as sharp as you are. You're still sharp as a tack, and it's just amazing. I don't know how you do it. But my few questions is this. First of all, why has white supremacy lasted so long without being defeated? And how can it be defeated in the short term and long term? And I do have one follow-up question after that,
Why don't you
please.
just put all together so he'll respond?
Okay.
Just put them.
Okay, and the last question is, can individuals obtain their freedom from white supremacy, but the group as a whole may still be enslaved? Say like kind of million of us obtain that freedom, but yet hundreds of millions still remain enslaved to white supremacy. And I'll take those answers off the air. Thank you very much.
All right,
If you're a person of color, you're in the system of white supremacy. And there's no exception to that, unless you've been reclassified as white. Now, the white supremacists do that, too. They do all the classifying. See, that's another thing. That goes to show you how powerful they are. You can't classify yourself. You got to be approved of by the white supremacists. The white supremacists can look at a black person who is just as black as midnight and say, well, I'm going to make you honorary white. And everybody will respect you and regard you as honorary white because I got the power to make everybody of color do it. And they're not playing when they say that. And they actually do that when they find that it's feasible to do so. That's a rare occasion. But in answer to your question, the white supremacist system has lasted long because a lot of people are in denial that it exists. And the white supremacists did that too. Said we're telling them what to do every day, what to eat, where to sleep, what to beg for, and who to beg, and all like that. And at the same time, telling those black people with their dumb selves that we don't have nothing to do with their lives. I mean, they're free. I mean, they can do what they want to. I mean, we tell them that, and sit right there in their face and wink at each other, and they see us winking at each other, and they don't catch it. Why? Because they're too busy looking at each other. They're not watching us. We're scientific. We're the most scientific people on the planet here in 2022. And they're the dumbest people on the planet. That's why they're subject to us. And they're not trying to improve themselves. They're trying to tear each other down every chance they get. Every black person just wants to be just a little bit better or get a little bit more edge than the black person sitting next to them. And they think they're died and gone to heaven. And that's how the white supremacists have trained us to be. In answer to the question, why is it still like that? Because everything in logic, what's that law of inertia? Something stays in place forever. A rock on the moon will stay there for 1 trillion years until somebody just comes along and moves it. It won't move 1 inch. Black people are the same way. We'll sit right there and won't move not 1 inch until when? The white supremacists come along and give us a good kick. Then we'll move. That's a starter. Because we're trained that way. We're trained that way. And the other part of the question was, what can we do about it? Now, that's what my book is about. Each individual black person has to become or aspire to become a universal man or a universal woman. And what does that mean? These are terms that I made up. Universal man, universal woman, ultimate man, ultimate woman. Meaning you look at the entire universe, not just one or two things in it, like what's happening Saturday night in the ghetto, like we're trained to do. Look at the entire universe and say, what is the best that I can possibly be as an organism in this entire universe that will be the most constructive person that ever existed as an individual person. And how can I produce that type of individual out of myself, regardless of what everybody's doing around me? Try to, at every morning and every hour of every minute of every day, say, what problem have I solved? See, black people have a long reputation for being problem makers. You look up and see a black person coming and say, here comes a problem maker. Okay? Not a problem solver. Here they come, problem makers. We've been trained to be problem makers. And then dump our problems on whomever, happens to come by that can solve them, because we don't know how to solve no problems, but we do know how to make them. And we brag about making them. That's another thing. We are sick. We're just as sick as we can be and don't recognize the sickness. And a part of the code says one thing we should stop doing, and that's celebrating anything. It's not a black person on this planet who's qualified to celebrate. Why? Because prisoners of war are not in position to celebrate. They are in position to educate themselves about how not to be prisoners. And that's a different scenario altogether. And so I've tried to write a book called The Counter-Racist Code. Replace the system of white supremacy with the system of justice and go on from there to become universal man, universal woman. Just don't stop establishing justice, meaning guaranteeing that nobody's mistreated. That within the great scheme of things, that should have been done a long time ago. That's elementary stuff. And see to it that everybody that needs help gets it, constructive help, and then move on. This is a huge universe. We should be at the universal level. But we make 2-3 little baby steps like we're trained to do, and then stop everything and want to celebrate. And there's dead bodies all around us, black bodies that we helped make. They're talking about celebrating. Oh, we're crazy. We are crazy. We're just as crazy as we can be. Well, there's 1 minute killed in Chicago this month as it was last month. Now, the white supremacists got us thinking like that. Shouldn't be any killing anywhere on the planet. If one black person dies from another black person's hand on this planet, anywhere today, every black person who is celebrating should stop that celebration right there and say, I just can't.